Welcome to the Sunday, August 9th, 2026 Massachusetts Power Party member meeting. I'm James O'Keefe, chair of the party, a resident of Somerville, and I'm joined today by Steve and Joe. How are you two? And
Doing
please
well.
identify.
This is Steve from Arlington, I am doing well.
This is Joseph from Lowell, Massachusetts, and I am doing splendiferous.
Well, I hope you're all staying cool. So we have an agenda here. Is there any change either of you would like to suggest?
No changes here.
One small change. I just want to put on the docket that we discuss some of the technical aspects of a lot of the stuff that you're doing behind the scenes, Jamie, to keep us all of our web pages flowing. You and Steve. I just want to get into our record.
Sure, although I'm not particularly proud of it, but I do the things that I can do. All right, so reports don't really have much. The previous recording, it has been posted. Additionally, unfortunately, the city of Cambridge chose to reintroduce shot spotters, but maybe only temporarily. They're going to have a civilian review process go through and decide whether to keep them or not. So sadly not following, I think it's New Bedford and Fall River, I think, are the two that decided to pull them. I think New Bedford was recently. I mean, thankfully, but sadly, Cambridge isn't. They're kind of waffling. And what's particularly annoying is usually if they make a decision, there's a rule that says, no, we can't go back on that. But, when the other side are the police and wealthy corporations that want to make sure they're spying on us, apparently they get exceptions. So that's it for reports, unless either of you two have other reports.
Nope.
Oh, well,
real quick.
Yeah, go Joe. Yeah.
So, the CEO of Flock Cameras basically says anyone who isn't into mass surveillance is a terrorist, and so I think we should write a statement to how mass surveillance is terrorism.
I prefer the term freedom fighter myself.
But just to be declared a terrorist, because this guy, even though he's trying to make profit off of putting us in a surveillance state, so
Realize that with that kind of like huffery and puffery, the only thing that we're terrorizing is his corporate profit. So he can he can go stick it.
Amen. The other report that Joe alluded to before was, as some of you may know, there was a WordPress vulnerability that was fixed in WordPress 8.0.2. I think there was also one in 8.0.1 that messed up a bunch of sites, sadly including us, for which we've recovered. If you find any issues, send us an email, info@masspirates.org. We had to go and yank some some plugins that were really old in the tooth and no longer maintained. So it was good to do that. Didn't see anything weird in the database, thankfully. And it's a completely new installation, so anything that got dropped on disk is gone. But if you have a WordPress site and you haven't updated, please update. It's a fairly easy process. Go, Joe.
now, was our vulnerability the same as what happened to the National Committee?
No, that was something else that occurred, that was not related to that. I would prefer not to go into any details about that. I mean, they're good, and they're in the process of recovering from that, and I think they'll be better off because of it, which is good. But yeah, that was something that happened with someone else, and I don't think we should go into the details of that. Anyone who was affected by it has been notified, and the particular folks who and the folks doing the notifying have been really proactive and helpful about that. So I don't see the need to discuss that further. So,
No,
I just
but
I wasn't. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was going to say I just want to make a slight note on what Jamie mentioned earlier. It was actually WordPress 7, and 7.0.2 is the one that the version that patches whatever exploit that got exploited. A couple of weekends ago, I've been spending part of doing part time reassembling WordPress sites of my own. So c'est la vie.
yeah, and they just came out. Thanks for that correction, Steve. They just came out with 7.0.3, which has more updates. So that is thankfully applied for us. Got an RSS feed for every time those things get updated now.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we were good and what happened nationally didn't happen to us. So I don't need the details.
Yeah, I mean the national issue was a different vector, and as far as we know, it did not affect us. That said, we need to be better about recovering from those quickly and efficiently. I mean, that's one of the problems with these machine learning. Well, maybe not machine learning. It's not really learning, but the statistical analysis generation, textual generation tools have found exploits, and if suddenly we're seeing a greater if we see a greater velocity in terms of these exploits getting out, then unfortunately what that's going to do, I mean, it's good that they're getting fixed, but believe me, I'm not saying that's bad. But if malicious hackers are able to generate exploits at a much faster pace, when you've got volunteer run sites that have to go and patch these services, that can be a strain on volunteers. And one of the things that I worry about is that's going to push, if someone's maintaining their site and it's like, oh, I've got to update it like every day, right? Then they're going to start handing those updates over to WordPress, which I know has an automatic update feature, or they're going to use someone else's service, which then potentially leaves them even more vulnerable, and also, further concentrates the services that are provided on the internet, which is not what we're about. We believe in a diversity of voices and diversity of ways of communicating, and creating these tools, which already are done by a small number of firms, that force people to react by moving into services that are controlled by a small number of firms, is just, not what the internet that I grew up with was about. And I think is counter to what we in the Pirate Party believe. So, yeah, go Steve.
Do either of you remember CrowdStrike from about 2 years ago?
How can I
So Crowd,
forget?
yeah, CrowdStrike. It's a security. They provided security software that was widely used by lots and lots of corporations, and they had an update, and the update effectively bricked I want to say thousands and thousands, I don't know if it's millions, but a very large number of corporate computers all around the world. It just, I mean, not to pick on CrowdStrike, that, um, every large software company has done this. Amazon and Google were were quite notorious for having dubious updates in the past, but it's one of the first internet worms to go around. One university was spared, and the reason they were spared was, well, they were just running something a bit different than everybody else. So yeah, the I agree with Jamie in that homogenization is not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, my story on that, I think that happened, I want to say before I got out of college, but I worked at a company called FTP Software, and they did TCP/IP stacks for DOS, and back in the old days. And I remember they commented that they weren't affected by the worm because they had the source code and they had already fixed the issue that it used, and so they weren't vulnerable to it. And that's also the point of open source, and you know being able to go and modify the code yourself and change it, hopefully for the better, and fix things. So all right. So that's it for reports. In terms of decisions, endorsements, I was notified kindly by a friend of mine that the Boston Anarchists, and then shortly thereafter, thankfully, also by email, that the Boston Anarchists Book Fair is coming up in, oh man, hold on, let me see. Is coming up November 8th. Man, I'm going to oh, shoot. Okay.
November 7th and 8th.
November 7th and 8th, correction. Yeah, thanks. Which reminds me, I scheduled something for the 8th, so I'm going to have to change it. Anyways, that's my thing. So yeah, so that's going to be November 7th and 8th. It will once again be at the Cambridge Community Center. Registration for tables and talks will be open until, well, certainly tables. It's open until August 30th. And so we didn't get it. We weren't we requested a table last year with Digital Fourth, and we were not able to get a table. And I wanted to see, do we want to ask? We may not get it, but do we want to ask?
I'm in favor of asking.
We could sell no safe harbors.
That we can. Okay, then I'll put in the request for that and ask them to consider us. And if they don't, my suggestion would be, like, in October, we should fan out in the area around. I mean, we've already done a lot of camera mapping, but in the areas that we haven't gotten, and all the avenues and approaches towards the Cambridge Community Center, identify all the surveillance cameras and be like, yeah, hey, this is your neighborhood. So people know.
Hey, Jim, quick
Yeah.
question on the camera mapping. Is there
Yep.
a way we can identify flock and camera readers on there as well? That feature
So
we can add.
absolutely, you can do that. There are no flock cameras. Well, there are no Cambridge purchased flock cameras. They could be put up by individuals, they could be put up by corporations or businesses. But yes, I believe that can be noted on the map. If you identify, if you can, I believe there's a manufacturer field you can update. All right, Joe, do you have any US Pirate Party updates for us? Or issues that we need to consider?
Just a little bit of squabbling between Florida and Maryland. Apparently, an old member came out of the woodwork, complained to Florida. Florida brought up during the meet during one of the meetings, it became kind of a big to do where Maryland became kind of defensive, and justly so. And so that's something I have to deal with. And the other question that came up was we haven't seen Eli in a while, and he is the treasurer. So they wanted me to. Some people have asked where he is, and so I just wanted to see if we could touch base with him to see if he's okay, what's going on, because it would be nice to have the main Massachusetts rep showing up to the meetings.
Okay. I mean, I would suggest, feel free to email him.
Do you have
You
his
can
contact
feel,
info?
yeah, I mean, it should be it should be at masspirates.org in the about page.
All right, I'll reach out to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's also on Signal. I can send that to you as well, if you want.
No, I'll just reach out to him. I'm
Okay.
more of a phone call guy, but
Understood.
I'll reach out to him on Signal, see if I can touch base with him.
Okay. All right. So in terms of, but no other issues besides what's going on with Maryland. No other issues.
Jacob Anderson. He was a Democratic person who didn't get the vote from the Democrats. Turns out that he is in strong support of communism.
You
and
said
he's
it like
done.
that's a bad thing. Sorry.
Yes, I'm a pirate.
I understand.
I'm not a communist. I'm a pirate. There's some ideals that they have right. Sure. But I'm not looking to turn this into Russia. And so that being said, I'm more about true democracy. And so, but that's a discussion maybe for another day. The point is that he's now accused of essay. If you need me to explain what that is, sexual, you get it. And so, long story short, we think we're going to move this upcoming meeting to be removing him from removing our endorsement, which I think is the first time we've ever done that. So that's going to be voted on tonight.
Okay. Well, good luck with that decision. I mean, we haven't endorsed him. We don't even know enough issues ourselves. So, yeah, I mean, it strikes me that the National Party needs to come up with their guideline for what their endorsement or nomination process is.
Don't think we vetted him. I think it was just a general vote, and we just asked questions.
Yeah.
But I think that moving forward, we might want to put in the bylaws. Anyone seeking endorsement has to first go through a committee that will do the research.
Sure. At least do 20 questions, right?
I mean, this was found out after the fact, and then there was a lot that was going on. And, I'm not all about answering the question of the production of memes, but I like owning my socks. I don't want the government to own my socks. So
I would agree. Okay.
So, long story short, he was talking about starting a pirate group, but I honestly think that was just fluff in order to get our endorsement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for people to start the pirate groups first, and then come back and whatever. I mean, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. So on projects and events, things are continuing with the 2020 campaigns. Writing up the text for the how to run videos so that those can be little bite-sized things. Getting through that. In terms of pirate news, do we want to record one next weekend?
Um,
Yeah, sure.
sure. I'm hoping to still do that. Um, how to encrypt and protect yourself, and basically doing a video on cryptology and basically a video pirate news on protecting information, especially with all the hacks going on and stuff.
Okay. Do you want to like write up what I know we've discussed this in the past. Do you want to write up exactly what you want to discuss and then we can kind of put that together?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, Jamie, you're more of the security IT guy than I am.
Okay.
But I mean, I wanted to mention just about how VPNs are not necessarily a safe way to protect yourself.
Sure.
Um, I mean, they recently busted a hacker. He was using a VPN and he was using encryption, but his ID was his computer ID was still listed, and they were able to track him via his computer ID. So even
Ah,
though you think you're behind a firewall and all this layers online, your computer still has its ID. You know, so
okay. Well, maybe we can like come up with a short. I know from past stuff we've done. We can come up with a list of do's and don'ts, and then we can record something and do that.
well, yeah, I'm definitely going to want to mention like peer block and stuff like that, and online security, encryption, and all that, and the usual stuff that we hit. How to lock down your credit.
Yep.
But really, that's kind of old hat. I don't know if there's been major updates to the way we protect ourselves, seeing that um, if corporations can get away with all this stuff, but the individual can't, you know.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, let's discuss it. Let's discuss it further. Come up with a plan, and then go record it as probably one of these pirate newses. Maybe we can do it next week, or we could certainly do it in 3 weeks. Sound like a plan?
It does. I'll probably put a list of stuff to the signal, if that's
Oh,
okay.
that would be great. Thank you very much. Or the activist mailing list, whichever.
You know what? Maybe the activist mailing list is a better spot.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right. So the next topic is, as some of you may know, we have an election coming up in November, and the ballot questions are plentiful this year. From what the Secretary of State and the Elections Division have reported on July 21st, they put out the order, and the questions. So question 1 is expanding public records law. Question 2, collective bargaining for CPCS employees, and so on and so forth, down to question 9, firearms regulation. And so we thought we would go through these ballot questions and give people our thoughts on them. These are not necessarily endorsements from the party, but we believe information is power, and we want to make sure that you all are well informed about it. So, let's see, what are these others? Yeah, so there's, of course, as I said, we'll put links in the description, but Ballotpedia has useful information on that. Wikipedia has some information on that, and does have links to the various questions. So looking at questions 1 and 2, they seem fairly brief. So should we try and read those out and tackle those?
Sure.
All right. So question 1 is initiative petition for a law to improve access to public records, which, don't hold me to this, but I believe is also put forward by the same people who did question 3. But I'm not casting aspersions on that. Anyways, or I'm not saying anything about that. Just that is it a fact? Yeah. Anyways, so initiative petition for a law to improve access to public records, be it enacted by the people and by their authority, an act to improve access to public records. Section 1, the first paragraph of clause 26th of Section 7 of Chapter 4 of the General Laws is hereby amended by inserting after the words Chapter 32 the following phrase, or by the General Court or by the office of the Governor of the Commonwealth. Steve, do you think you could find that particular? I guess I could just find it here. Legislature.
Well, so yep, I have downloaded it.
Okay,
Ballotpedia has a helpful link to it.
nice. So
Okay,
section 7 of chapter 4. Yeah, go. You do it. You go for it.
all right. So it would add 2 paragraphs to section 7 of chapter 4. Paragraph W would say communications between a member of the general court or such member's employees. Oh, I think these are exemptions. Hold on. All right. So I see what you mean. Now we actually have to look up section 7 of chapter 4. So looking that up now on malegislature.gov, and we want section 7 of chapter 4. So 26th. Okay, so the 26th clause refers to public records. And so this section basically lists the exemptions to the Public Records Act. So exempt would be communications between a member of the general court or such member's employee, agent, or representative and any constituent of such member, provided, however, that the communications reasonably relate to a constituent's request for assistance in obtaining government-provided benefits or services or otherwise interacting with a state or federal agency. So if you write your legislature and ask them for help, that is not subject to public records law. And the second exemption would be communications, memoranda, drafts, or other documents relating to developing policy positions of members of the general court or the governor of the Commonwealth. So this means that drafts of legislature that have not been made public, I guess that's considered, a deliberative. It seems to be similar to the deliberative document exception. So drafts of stuff that aren't, fully baked. So section 3.
So just quick question. So section 1, it says after 32. So they would say defined in chapter 1 of chapter 32 and or by the general court or the office of the governor of Massachusetts. Wait. So
I
I'm
don't
just
need
trying
to
to.
see the rough drafts, to be perfectly honest.
All right, you proceed, Steve, while I go through this.
Oh, okay, so the mention of chapter 32 in the 26th clause. Oh boy, that's a long sentence.
I hate legalese. Yeah. Bullet points are your friend. Anyways.
Okay, so books, papers, photographs, records, tapes, financial. Oh, so basically that would add the legislature and the governor's office to agencies that are subject to public records law.
Okay, good.
That's what it looks like.
Yep. I agree.
All right, so we have that. We have the exemptions. And so section 3A, the way I read that is it declaring the general court and the governor's office as agencies that possess public records.
Okay.
And section 4 states that declarations or affidavits and other papers filed by claimants in the office of the Secretary of Veterans Services or records kept by the Secretary for reference by the officials of their office shall not be considered public records for the purposes of this chapter. So basically, veterans making claims with the Secretary of Veterans Services, those claims would not be public records.
So basically, in a nutshell, what it would say is that the general court, i.e., our legislature, and the office of the governor of the Commonwealth would be subject to the public records request and then add a bunch of exemptions.
Only two exemptions. And then, well, if you want to, two exemptions in the public record section, and then this other exemption comes in a different chapter.
Right.
Well, so let's section 18 of chapter 66. What is that? Oops. 66 or 66A? 66 and section 18. Oh, okay. So the current reading of that section says this chapter shall not apply to records of the general court, nor shall declarations. So basically, it says this chapter shall not apply to the records of the general court or declarations from the office of the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, and that would effectively be removing shall not apply to the records of the general court. So what is 66 in general? Oh, 66 is, okay, that is the main law on public records. Okay.
Okay. All right. So it's just making it consistent where it wasn't included elsewhere and was specifically excluded in this section 18. Now we'll remove that.
That is my interpretation.
Okay. Okay, cool. And of course, we will talk with our various other public records knowledgeable folks and ask for their advice. I'm sure they're going to say this doesn't go far enough, and we would generally agree. But it's nice to see some improvement.
It is an improvement.
Agreed. It's it's like they put this in there and then they didn't change the rules to make it easier to get public records. They've already the last time they updated these, they made it more difficult to get public records, especially if they're like, yeah, we're just not going to do anything. There's like,
well, there's two sides of that. So one of the things that the last update to the public records law did was it gave a preference to providing electronic, if the record was in electronic form, it said you have to give, the responding agency's first preference should be to provide it in electronic form. Prior to that, you would get copies on paper with a charge of 10 cents or so per page. Like I have some old records from the Department of Conservation and Recreation that I spent like $80 to acquire, and in the footer, there's a little file path.
Right.
So it's like you could have sent me the Word file.
Yeah. Okay. So shall we move on to question 2?
Sure.
All right. So question
Yeah.
2. Yeah, Joe, go on.
No, I'm saying please move on to question 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Initiative petition for a law relative to labor relations policies for Committee for Public Counsel Services employees, be it enacted by the people and by their authority. Section 1 of Chapter 150E of the General Laws, as appearing in the 2022 official edition, is hereby amended by adding to the end of the second paragraph titled Employer or Public Employer the following sentence. In the case of employees of the Committee for Public Counsel Services, employers shall mean the Committee for Public Counsel Services or its designee. Section 2, Section 7 of said Chapter 150E of the General Laws, as so appearing, is hereby amended by striking the word or before the phrase the State Lottery Commission in line 16 and adding the following words after that phrase, or the Committee for Public Counsel Services. Section 3, said Section 7 of said Chapter 150E of the General Laws, as so appearing, is hereby amended by striking the word and before the words the State Lottery Commission, appearing in line 34 and inserting after the word commission on line 35 the following words and the Committee for Public Counsel Services. So let's go look at Section 1 of Chapter 150E. Oh, that's nice.
So this is labor. The general title of the chapter is Labor Relations, Public Employees, and Section 1 is definitions.
Okay, so now it's adding council. No, it's adding Committee for Public Counsel Services or its designee. I guess the question the thing I'm confused about is what is the Committee for Public Services? Sorry, the correction. What is the Committee for Public Counsel Services? Is that specified elsewhere in the Mass General Laws? Oops, sorry.
So these are so this would be public defenders in the Commonwealth, it looks like.
Right.
I
They have a-
apologize. I must leave this meeting. Jamie, is there any chance you can do tonight's meeting on my behalf for the National Party?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks. Take care, Joe.
So
Sorry,
it
you were
looks
saying,
like
Steve?
it looks like the net effect of this will be to allow public defenders to engage in collective bargaining. That seems like a good thing to me.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Workers should be able to bargain collectively. Okay. And so the Committee for Public Counsel Services would be their bargaining agent.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So ballot question 3 is much longer. Should we save that for the next meeting?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Okay. All right then. Since I've got to go to the national meeting, shall we adjourn?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. I agree. All right. So, with that, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Joe. We hope everyone out there has a cool week coming up. You know, it's going to be hot, but thankfully it'll start getting cooler. Um, as always, you can find us at masspirates.org. We'd love your help at these meetings. They are every 2 weeks on Sunday at 8 p.m. And we'd always love your help at our upcoming events and at other activities for the party. So feel free to contact us at info@masspirates.org. You can sign up for our mailing list and all those things. So thank you very much. Take care and have a wonderful week.